All right, guys. For this word problem section of Unit 2, I think what I'm going to do is just go over the problems from the homework with the answers here. So if you clicked on the homework section or the assignment section, you notice that there are a bunch of questions, and then below that there's a link to the answers. And these are the answers that you got from there. Okay, so let's go through this. Samantha has a hockey team. They want to go to Europe. They make $35 per lawn, and it costs them $215 to rent the aerating machine. So they aerate, they put holes in lawns for the benefit of the lawn. You put a whole bunch of holes in it, and I guess it gets air down there, and the dirt gets happy. I don't know what happens, how that works, but anyway. And then that's it. Okay, so you have to rent this thing for 215 bucks, and then but you make 35 bucks per lawn. So then we want to talk about an equation, how much money they can get R in dollars based on, and what's going to be based on? It's going to be based on L, the number of lawns they aerate. So what you want to do is try to come up with an equation that will tell you how much money we make, and there it is here. Let's make sense of this. You're going to make $35 per lawn, so 35 times L, okay? And that's what this is here. It's hard to tell, but that's 35 times L. And so if you do one lawn, you get 35 bucks. You do two lawns, you get 35 times 2. 3 lawns, 10 lawns, you get 350, etc. But don't forget, you need to pay for your rental. So that's the minus 215. Okay, very simple. If they do 26 lawns, how much money do they get? Well, what you're going to do here is you're going to sub L equals 26 into the equation. Now, sometimes we label the equations. You can call this equation number 1, and later on that'll come up in grade 10. So into equation number 1. So sub L equals 26 into the equation. So anywhere you saw an L is 26 now. So everywhere you see an L in the equation just once, you put 26. So 35 times 26 minus 215 is $695. And it's a word problem, so I want a word answer. Okay, so this wasn't a word problem here. This says, give me the equation. But now it says, how much money did they raise? I need a therefore statement. So therefore, you can write therefore, or in math we do this like that. That symbolizes therefore, 1, 2, 3 dots like that. That's therefore, or circles. So therefore the team made $695. Dollar sign in front, please. That's not even a dollar sign. I get so angry there. $695. I know in different places they use different things, but they put the dollar sign behind. But in English-speaking Ontario, which is where I'm teaching this and how I'm teaching this, you need the dollar sign in front. You want to put 2 lines in the dollar sign. I'll let you do that. No more than 2 though. Okay. Dollar sign 695. 695 bucks. Okay, next, how much money would they lose if they didn't do any aeration? Well, that's an easy one. It's just 215, but how do we prove that? Well, you go 35 times. How many lawns will they mow if they don't do any aeration? That's L equals 0. Okay, they've done 0 lawns, so you would sub L equals 0 into equation, EQTN for short, and you get minus 215, and minus in this case would be a loss. It says, is there any possible way they could avoid the potential loss? And there's some answers here. How can they do that? They can arrange store credit to be applied if it rains or some sort of thing like that. So that's a nice little question too. But the main point is this. Let's move on to question number 2. Vicus is the head of a student council, and they want to go to Canada's Wonderland. The fee to get in is 50 bucks, and the bus costs 600 bucks. Okay, $50 per person. Okay, and write an equation to relate the cost C in dollars. Okay, so we always add that in dollars, or sometimes you can just do this C and then put bracket dollars like this. That's the same thing. C in dollars to the number of students S who participate in this fun trip, assuming it's gonna be fun. S is the number of students, so the answer is here. Let's try to make sense of this. It's $600 to get in, right? And then you also add to that 50 times the number of students that go. So now I have 600 plus 50 times S. Now, there's nothing wrong with writing it like this, okay? The answer that you're given is 50S plus 600. The one thing is, over time, as you move forward into this course and next year, and you keep going with your studies, you'll notice that usually we like to put the variable first. So you won't see things like this, 600 plus 5S. You'll more likely see it as, or 50S, sorry. you'll more likely see it as 50s plus 600. There's nothing technically wrong with writing 600 plus 50s, but this is kind of the more traditional way to write it is in this sense. And you'll see when we get to lines and graphing lines why this order makes our lives a little bit better, okay, or a little bit easier. I don't know, better. Okay, so there's your equation. If I want 2,750 bucks, how many? Sorry, if that's how much it costs, how many kids went? Okay, so working backwards, that's the bill they got. Let's see. Hold on, is this the right amount of kids? So what you do here is that's C. Okay, so you set that equals 2750 equal to 50s plus 600. Now at this point, guys, don't put a dollar sign in here because you've already told me that C is in dollars. So if you do this again, then it's really like $2 signs. Okay, and that's not good. Okay. So you don't need that here. Now in your word answer you do, but not in the equation itself. You never need that. Okay. So 2750 is equal to 50s. And now how do we solve this? Okay. So first you get rid of little rule of thumb here. When you're trying to solve here, I start as far away as possible from the variable and then work backwards. So you look here and you say what's first. You get rid of adding or subtracting, or the $600 here, and what's the 600 doing to the s? It's adding on this side. So how do you get rid of it? You subtract it on the other side. Okay, you can subtract it from both sides like this. Okay, so let's pretend I was like this. I'm sorry, like that. Okay, if you had room, you could do that, and then this plus 600 minus 600 turns into 0, and you end up with this 2750 minus 600 is 50s. Okay, so to get rid of the adding, you subtract on both sides. To get rid of the multiplying, what's the 50 doing on this side? It's multiplying. The opposite of multiplying is division. So 50s divided by 50, this whole thing divided by 50, okay? So, I'm sorry, 2150, I cleaned this up, 2750 subtract 600 is 2150. Now I divide by 50, okay? So I divide this by 50, and I get 2150 divided by 50 is equal to 50 over 50s, which is just plain old s. So let's just keep this the equal sign straight. This is 43, this is 50s divided by s, 43 is equal to s, or s equal to 43. There's nothing wrong with saying 43 is s. Now we'd like to write the variable is equal to a number. It just makes more sense, right? S is equal to 43. But if your equations work out so you have 43 is equal to s as your answer, that's not bad. Just when you word it properly, okay? So don't say that just write it this way. He recruited 43 students for the trip, or 43 students went on the trip, okay? So this is okay. This is maybe better, but if organically, that's a word I like to use now. If naturally it turns into be something like this, where the variable is on the right side of the equal sign, then you're fine. Okay, just leave it as is. And sometimes we do that on purpose because it makes our life easier. Vicus gets a free trip if you get 90% of the bus is full. 46 people sit in the bus, and I said this earlier. Anytime you have a percent, you're going to multiply. Almost always in your life, when you have a percent, you're going to multiply. 46 times 90%, or 46 times 0.9, and you find out that 46 times 0.9 is obviously 41.4. I'm just kidding. I use my calculator, 41.4. And then you say, did he get 41.4 kids? Well, I hope we didn't get the 0.4 kid because I don't know what that is. But did he get more than 41 kids? He did. He got 43. So we're in the clear. Another way is to do it the way they did it here, where you said, what percent is 43 divided by 46? What percent of 46 is 43? And then you multiply by 100 to change that to percent. So you get this as a decimal as 0.935 times 100 is 93%. 93 is bigger than 90. Either way, Vicus is good. And then again, you give a therefore statement. Okay, or a statement, a concluding statement. Therefore, Vicus gets a free trip because he was over 90%. Okay, so that's this version. That's this version. And that's it. Okay, let's go to number 3 now. The World Issues Club has decided to donate 60% of all their fundraising activities to this foundation here. There's more information about that. Keep going. Choose a variable to represent the money earned and the revenue. Okay, so what we've done here is the revenue is going to be R. So R is the revenue. And what I would do is this, really. Let's get used to this. Let R represent the revenue generated, okay? And then you can write in dollars, in words, or you can put the dollar sign here, if you'd like that. Okay, let R represent, this says let R represent the revenue generated. Okay, I'm gonna blame my my little thing here, my my Mobi that I'm writing on, but the truth is I'm not a good writer. Let R represent the revenue generated. Make yours a little better than that. And then F, what's F going to be? That's going to be let F, and we can do this too. This is really, people like this. Let little jot marks here, F represent. So this means dot mark means let is here. That means that's let. R is replaced with F. Represent, I still have represent the. So let F represent the fundraising activities. Okay, so use the variable to create an equation that will determine the amount of money the foundation will receive. Okay, so they are going to donate 60% of their fundraising money. Okay, so again, this is, I'm sorry, I should have done this in dollars. So the fundraising activity funds, or that's fine. The fundraising activity generated, I guess, generated in dollars, or put a dollar sign. So I want 60% of this. They're donating 60%. So how do I represent 60% of F? R is 60% of F. So R is 60 over 100 of F, or R is 0.60 times F. Their latest bake sale, they got 72 bucks. What did they donate? Well, here you're going to sub F, sorry, is equal to 72 into equation. And again, you don't need dollar signs or anything because you've already said here that F is the fundraising, the amount fundraised in dollars. Okay, so F is equal to 72. And technically, it would be wrong if you put dollar signs here because you're gonna, like I said, you're going to double up here with your dollar signs. So you sub in, and then you get $43.20. And again, any answer with money should be rounded properly if it has to be rounded. If your answer is this on your calculator, 432, that is not acceptable when it comes to money. Okay, this means money, 43.2, that's not a thing. Okay, you either have two numbers after the decimal or no numbers after the decimal. So if it's $43 on the nose, you write that. If you also want to write $43, you can write it like this, but in this case it's 43.20. Okay, so that's 20 cents. Okay, so this would come up in your calculator, but then you know that I want two numbers after that, and you put the zero there. At the end of the year, they got $850 total. How much money did they fundraise? So if I give 850 bucks and I'm giving 60% of my money, that, let's figure out how much money I made total. So in this case, sorry, not let, sub R is equal to 850 into the equation. EQTN is fine for equation. And when you do that, you get 850 is equal to 0.60 or 0.6 F. Should you cut that zero off? You can. It makes, I mean, it's the same thing, but we're talking about 60%, so sometimes it looks nicer. It makes more sense if it's 0.60. And what you're going to do here is solve for F here. So I want F by itself. Okay, so how do I get rid of the 0.6? It's multiplying on this side, so it has to divide on the other side. I divide both sides, and I end up with this. Okay, so divide to get rid of multiplying, and when you divide by decimal, you're not by a number less than 1. Your number is going to get bigger. So 0.850 divided by 0.60 is 1667. Okay, round properly, like I said. And that's about it. The last question, go ahead and try on your own. Okay, the answers are there also. A little short on time with this video, but hopefully that makes sense. Okay, take care.